Why not try something smart to chew on? The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Tuesday. It's Wednesday, the 15th of October, 2025. I'm missing out the days now. And of course, we are on to program number 1467 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Of course, if you want to follow us, you can do so on radio, 101.1 FM. You can also follow us on our website, rcistlucia.com. We are up and running on our Facebook Live, and you can also reach us via our YouTube page as well. If you want to call in to tell us what's on your page, on your plate today, that number is 452-3046, again 452-3046, as well as our WhatsApp number. It is 724-0008, again 724-0008. In just a bit, we are going to be taking in our Republic Corner for today. Of course, we're going to be speaking with a personal banking officer from Republic Bank EC Limited, and of course, we'll be speaking about what's to look forward to in terms of Christmas and lots of other wonderful offerings from Republic Bank. But first, I'll look back in time onto some history for today. In the year 1581, the first ballet, it was called Ballet Comique de la Reine, commissioned by Catherine de Medici, was staged in Paris. In the year 1582, the Gregorian calendar was introduced in Spain, Portugal, and the Papal States after skipping 10 days from October the 4th to sync the calendar to the solar year and compensate for the drift that had occurred due to the Julian calendar having too many leap years. In the year 1850, on this day, on October 15th, Napoleon Bonaparte arrived on the island of St. Helena to begin his exile. In fact, he will end up dying on that island. In the year 1969, on this day, millions nationwide protested against the Vietnam War on Moratorium Day in the United States of America. And in 1993, on this day, October the 15th, Nelson Mandela and South African President F.W. de Klerk were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. We now move on to our dish of the day.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, we're just going to be waiting for a call to come in from Republic Bank. But of course, we'll head into our dish of the day regardless. And one of the matters, of course, that has been, somewhat forgotten, perhaps one could say, and it was a matter that somewhat came out of the time of service of Dr. Ernest Hilaire over in the United Kingdom, And as High Commissioner to St. Lucian, upon his return, you would note that the diplomats, returning diplomats, have the right to bring back whatever they may have purchased or whatnot overseas, duty free, and including, of course, household appliances and whatever the case may be, including vehicles. And this became a matter subject to some form of investigation under the former administration. And on one side, of course, Mr. Ernest Hilaire would perhaps characterize this effort by the Alan Chastney administration to that of a witch hunt, and effectively looking for something to be able to hold him to account for, which, in his perspective, of course, he had done absolutely nothing wrong. And on the side of the current leader of the opposition and then Prime Minister Alan Chastney, of course, he effectively was suggesting that there was this great level of dishonesty on the part of Dr. Hilaire, and of course his supporters within the United Workers' Party characterized the entire matter as Rovergate because it involved a Range Rover vehicle. The vehicle was in fact even impounded by I think customs authorities at one point in time. This was, of course, after the vehicle had been in the possession of Dr. Hilaire for a very long and extended period of time. And, of course, this happened not too long before the general election of 2021. It was certainly one of those matters that the United Workers' Party would have spoken about quite a lot, and to cast Dr. Hilaire, of course, the current Deputy Prime Minister, in a very negative light. Of course, the long and short of it is, if we fast forward to today, and of course we could also fast forward through a number of comptrollers of customs who looked into the matter. In fact, I think one of them now is even looking at, a customs official formally now looking to contest the Castries East seat for the United Workers' Party. And, of course, this matter has continued to play out to some degree. Effectively, it was, I guess withdrawn, you could say, or rescinded. The whole argument of a case to be brought forward against Dr. Hilaire. And there was effectively an argument being placed by the then customs official that somehow there was something wrong with the government's actions in taking this forward. So, of course, it has gone as far up as an appeal to the Caribbean Court of Justice, headquartered in Trinidad and Tobago. And the matter was heard not too long ago. And I think the court is probably going to be making a ruling soon on just that. So you'll certainly have to be looking out for the outcome of that matter. And hopefully we can actually bring you something on it very soon to see what in fact has been the outcome. Because, of course, as mentioned, it did go to the High Court here. There was a ruling which was not in favor of the matter. And, of course, there was another ruling at the Court of Appeal level. And effectively, Mr. Chico et al. Have decided to pursue the matter even further. Of course, it's interesting that the lawyers representing him happen to be the lawyers who tend to do quite a lot of work for the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, that of Mr. Chastney's lawyers. And so we'll see how that all, of course, works out in terms of this final ruling, which will be coming from the Caribbean Court of Justice. on this very matter. Now, one other instance or other issue that has been circulating in the news has been that of a proposal for the development of or the redevelopment of lands that were formerly the CDCs at La Clery. And that parcel of land was developed somewhere perhaps back in the post-1948 fire period. And at that time, of course, Castries was being rebuilt. And Castries at that point had a very, very small footprint. And so places like La Clery were being seen as part of the expansion of Castries. And so land was being developed in that area. And so there were some CDCs, bungalow-style housing that was provided in that La Clery area. And had, of course, like a lot of the CDC buildings, have seen the ravages of time and have how that has in fact impacted on the quality of the housing. And eventually, there was action in demolishing those bungalow structures and to effectively make way, hopefully, for something that would be more in keeping with some modernity in the La Clery area, of course. So the La Clery area, as I said, had really started developing back in the 1950s and 60s, and so the housing stock, a lot of it, being a bit old, would be good to see something new coming in the fore there. And of course, there had been a sign placed not too long ago on that site, that 3-acre site next to the La Clery, between the supermarket in La Clery and the, I should say the Massey supermarket in La Clery and the La Clery playing field, that area being earmarked for some form of development. And of course, the absolute nature of the development, we perhaps still have to wait to find out. But there were statements made by the representative for the area, Senior Minister and Member of Parliament for Castries North, the Honourable Stevenson King, indicating that the government is pursuing some sort of potential partnership with an investor to look at that site and to potentially redevelop it to effectively create it as a sort of a hub, a commercial town center, as he's dubbed it, to be able to have a number of uses for that site, inclusive of mixed use, commercial, residential, as well as hotel, commercial, touristic type of development. And one can very well understand the attractiveness of that area, which effectively stretches from the VG roundabout and coming in up to the playing field. Very, very great location. And effectively, from an urban planning perspective, it would be considered a transit-oriented development, because it really is very, very close to a major transit route, a major arterial road, that of the Sir Julian R. Hunt Highway, meeting the John Compton Highway, as well as the Vidboutet Road. So it's really at a really advantageous location, and would in fact lend itself to lots of potential uses and great opportunities for persons who may be looking for affordable housing, for the opportunity to live close to the city, and of course still enjoy great amenities, including proximity to the beach, for example, which is afforded from that area. So definitely it's something I think has been long overdue in terms of the regeneration of the La Clery community. The allowance of the community to, in fact, become more center place in terms of economic activity. But a good point being made in that context is that he's, in fact, looking at not just at that site, but the adjoining neighborhood and how that neighborhood overall can lend itself to perhaps more higher density type of development, development that would, in fact, allow for a greater spillover of major services, so that persons could not necessarily have to come right into the city center to be able to enjoy those services. Of course, we are seeing changes in a number of these neighborhoods that would have been developed perhaps 50, 60 years ago. And this tends to be the trend that many cities go through. You have an original core area, and then you would have suburbs that would have been relatively dated over the years, maybe 50 to 100 years old. So the regions like Marsha and Mondudor and, of course, Sanssouci and La Clery, quite often referred to as inner suburbs. And they tend to change in terms of the character. So at one time, they would have been considered very far out. You know, people would be like, really, to go live all the way in La Clery? No. That's too far for me. And of course, what we've seen is completely changed. And so they were suburbs at one point, but they're now, in fact, becoming different kinds of suburbs. You're seeing much less emphasis on just purely housing, residential housing, but also commercial activity coming into those spaces. So certainly in the Sanssouci area, you're seeing it occurring, and in respect of La Clery, to some degree as well, especially along the Vide-Bouteille Road, you're seeing a fair bit more commercial activity coming along in that region. So certainly the need for regeneration, the need for urban renewal is in order. And hearing quite a lot of comments being made about it. This is, of course, a project that has not yet gotten any kind of full approval and is perhaps still in an exploratory stage, according to the senior minister. No formal decisions, in fact, have been taken. And of course, you expect that you're going to get that. Investors quite often have to go through a long process before they can actually get to the point where a project is, in fact, approved. And of course, that's where you have a development control authority to look at the scale and context of what is being proposed, and quite often invite public comment and discussion on what is being proposed, and to ensure that the public has some degree of input in terms of what the character of the development is. I still do believe that our planning system is a little bit too opaque, and perhaps we still do have a ways to go in terms of getting to that point when it comes to public involvement. But we can say for certain that sometimes these projects, depending on the scale of the project, the size of the project, it can go through a very long and tedious process. And we've seen that, especially in developed countries like the United Kingdom, we're seeing projects that have been in the pipeline for a decade plus, and nothing can be done yet. And there's a whole host of design and redesign and consideration and studies that have to be done, and the impacts, the environmental and social impacts have to be looked at. Lots of detailed studies on so very many aspects of development, from archaeology to the impact on agriculture, the impact on nature, and there's a whole host of various things that have to be done with respect to projects. I mean, a case in point is the Heathrow project, Heathrow's third runway, and that has been in fact, in train for a very, very long time, and still nothing has come of it. So certainly, a small project like this one, or maybe a couple acres, yes, certainly you still do have to have some good public consultation. But I think we've got to certainly also balance that with the need certainly to do the forward planning so that we know beforehand, okay, yes, it may not happen right now, but we already know what's coming with respect to looking forward for that area. Now, we are going to take a quick break because we're going to end our dish of the day at this point. Our apologies, we don't have the weather report again for today, but we are looking forward to maybe some weather system towards the end, towards the beginning of next week, I think Sunday into Monday. But hopefully we'll be able to get an update on that maybe sometime tomorrow. But we'll be taking in our Republic Corner in just a bit, just after this break.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
So stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle-dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Vieux Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, we are so pleased to bring to you today Republic Bank's Republic Corner. And we are already on the home stretch for the Christmas season. Lots of people are already thinking about their ham and their fruit cake and ensuring that they've got all their things, their plans in place for the Christmas session, the Christmas mood, and to tell us about how that is going to be magical for you and how it can be. I'm so very pleased that we're going to be speaking today with a representative of Republic Bank as part of the Make Your Christmas Magical campaign. And so I think we've got Trisha Ford, Personal Banking Officer, Republic Bank EC Limited, with us. Trisha, are you there? Hello? Hello there. Trisha, are you there? I'm not too sure if you're hearing Trisha, but looks like we may not. We may have to actually get Trisha back on the line. Not too sure what's going on with her. Of course, this is an event that Republic Bank is putting on, and they've got lots of different products that customers can take advantage of. And we're hoping that we can get Trisha back to be able to tell us all about those various happenings. While we do that, we were able to actually get the weather report, and I will share that in the meantime. And this is the weather report from 12 o'clock, 12 noon. And it is from the forecaster McLean Jabaptiste. Present weather at Hewanora, partly cloudy. Present weather at GFL Charles, also partly cloudy. Temperature is about 31 degrees Celsius at Hewanora. Last night's minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity is about 73%. Winds blowing from the south-southeast at about 13 miles per hour. Rainfall, just a trace at at Hewanora over the 24-hour period that ended at 8 o'clock. And total rainfall for the month over at Hewanora has been 141.9 millimeters. Pretty much less at GFL Charles for the month of October thus far, 97.1 millimeters. Sunset tomorrow is at 5:40. Sunset today is at 5:44 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is going to be at 5:55 a.m. The forecast for the next 24 hours: winds will be blowing from between the east, southeast, and south near 16 miles per hour, or 26 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter at times. And the weather, partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times with a few scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. In terms of the forecast, pretty much the same as I mentioned. Partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with scattered light to moderate showers and isolated thunderstorms. Very important, the outlook, the tropical weather outlook. Moist and unstable conditions will cause occasional cloudy periods with showers and isolated thunderstorms over parts of the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. At 11 a.m. today, the center of Tropical Storm Lorenzo was located near latitude 21.5 degrees north and longitude 44.1 degrees west, certainly north of us there. Lorenzo is moving forward the north-northeast, towards the north-northeast near 40 miles per hour. Turn towards the northeast is expected, and faster forward speed also expected later today. Maximum sustained winds near 40 miles per hour, and effectively that is Lorenzo. And two tropical waves located over the eastern and far eastern tropical Atlantic are moving westward near 17 miles per hour. And effectively that is the outlook. So we do hope that things stay pretty nice thus far for the season. Have we been able to get... No, it doesn't look like we are able to get back with Republic Bank, unfortunately. I hope they are, in fact, listening, and so that we can get them back on air. Unfortunately, I don't, actually. So let's hope we can see what we can do with respect to Republic Bank. Should make mention that there was, in fact, an event over the weekend, and that saw a very expensive pair of shoes being purchased on auction. Of course, very special pair of shoes, one should add, and those were the boots that were used by none other than our national hero, Julian Alfred. And there was, in fact, a fundraiser which was held on October the 11th as part of a fundraising celebratory cocktail. And thanks to sponsors, the Body Holiday, there was an event called Power and Grace, an evening in honor of Julian Alfred. And that happened about 4 days ago on October the 11th. And the overall amount raise US 100,000, but certainly the highlight of the auction was that of those pair of shoes that Julian had won. And of course, earlier this year, Alfred won her second straight Wonder Diamond League Women's 100-meter title. And of course, she's been doing some really spectacular work. But the shoe that she was actually won for 75,000 US dollars. Remarkable amount to pay for a pair of shoes, which I'm pretty certain the owner himself is not able to wear, but is no doubt going to be placed in a very, very special location of his choice for display. Certainly a very, very expensive display item indeed. And of course, Julian Alfred, who hails from Cicero Castries, captured the St. Lucia's first ever World Championship medal. And also, of course, we do know that she was the first ever St. Lucian to win a medal at the Olympics. And not just one medal, she came back with two, setting St. Lucia up on the world stage in grand style, something that was going to be very, very hard for others to follow in her boots, in her shoes. And I think it may very well be easier for somebody to go out there and pay $75,000 to get those shoes than for them to be able to follow the feat that she has been able to achieve. And so certainly we want to congratulate her again for all that she's been doing, and the whole concept of giving back through the Alfred Foundation. Certainly a great effort to be able to do just that. And of course, she was wearing quite recently her Puma Nitro Sprint spikes, and that was purchased this week by an American basketball coach and manager, Kevin Graves. So great stuff, and let's hope we can see all of those proceeds heading towards benefiting the efforts of Julian's foundation. They also got an anonymous donation of US $25,000 that night. The St. Lucia Tourism Authority presented $5,000, I believe, US. And the Body Holiday, the CEO, Andrew Barnard, giving $10,000, and Bay Gardens Resorts also donating $5,000 US dollars. The Darren Sammy Foundation also supporting the Julian Alfred Foundation, supported with EC $10,000 as well. So kudos to all those who are assisting and are hoping to make an impact in the lives of young people out there, young athletes. We're seeing some great things coming from them. Naomi London herself over in University of Texas, she also signing on to a contract with Puma, which of course also sponsors Julian, and so certainly great stuff to be seeing that this is all happening at this time, and hopefully we can see a lot more in terms of how that is going to help young people out there who, like Julian, quite often would want to give up, and we're not seeing how they would have been able to continue, how they would, the many times when they were running barefooted, they were out there not able to thinking about many other issues that are impacting our athletes, because of course you're trying to concentrate on a pursuit. It's a long-term pursuit. It's something that's going to take you 10, 15, 20 years to get you to be where Julian is right now, and there's so many distractions, there's so many things that other things in life that can go wrong, that are not happening, and so you really do need this sort of environment that actually allows for the individual to be able to focus on their skills and talents, and that's really where we quite often know that it's pressure for a lot of athletes, it's pressure for a lot of individuals who have great talent in a particular area, but may not be well to do, may have great challenges in their own lives dealing with. And so, foundation like this is really important to be able to provide this peace of mind for the athletes to be able to continue with their dreams and to be able to pursue those dreams. So, giving back is so very important, and we're seeing that Julian is already doing it at a very early age, already making that remarkable impact on the lives of other St. Lucians who want to be able to be just like her. So again, thank you for all those who have been supporting that cause, and we do hope that it goes pretty well. Now, I think we may have to give up on the program in terms of Republic coming on. Hopefully we can get them to come through tomorrow, and to ensure that we can get them on as promised, and the program that they already had lined up. So, of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, you can also do just that. And the number to call in is 452-3048. Of course, you can also call in, 3046, and then you can also call in to the WhatsApp number that is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? Hi, how are you doing, caller? I'm here. Mm. Predict the past. I don't know how. No, you sure about that? It was developed. Is it Mr. Matalon, the Matalon company out of Jamaica? Yeah, yeah. Moses Matalon. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Well, I mean, he has property there, certainly. Um, Rodney Heights, Gablewoods, it was called Gablewoods North. Gablewoods North was developed by him. That property there, Commercial Plaza, as well as Coco Palm, the Coco Palm Hotel. So he can certainly take credit for that. But I think in terms of the overall, laying the infrastructure, the company at the time was a Jamaican company, and they were funded in part through, I think, at that time, the Colonial Development Corporation, CDC, which came in very early on. In the first instance, I think, back into the 60s, 1961, the first hotel being built at Redway Beach, the St. Lucia Beach Hotel. And then later on, from the 70s, the dredging of the marina. Well, Palm Beach, Palm Beach was not a, yeah. Right, but Palm Beach was more a club. It was a beach club. Oh, there was a small hotel, but I mean, in terms of the first resort type of hotel, I think was built up in up at Redway. Well, there was small yes, there was small hotels, very small, very the San Antoine, right? Exactly, which I think dates back to 1894, which in fact started off as a residence. Many of the homes up on the Mon, they all had these saints' names. Well, I think that's an important point. You have to be coming with something, right? I mean, the land is there. You obviously even have to purchase or go into a joint venture of the land, right? And I think what is important is that you are in fact coming with your financing in place, which is, I mean, very different from what we saw with respect to the whole DSH model, right? We've seen, unfortunately, a lot of the DSH model was hinged on financing coming from somebody else besides the actual investor. So that is a major challenge. Of course, with CIP, that's also an option in terms of trying to attract investment, but well, in the case of the CIP, I mean, we've seen a lot of changes made to it, right? And in fact, as of now, we're going to be seeing another change in the CIP with this whole signing on to the Treaty for the Regulatory Authority. So having a Eastern Caribbean Regulatory Authority for the business of citizenship by investment is, I think, a very good move, a necessary move. And of course, ensuring that we have the right framework that delivers what people expect of citizenship by investment, which means effectively that people want to be able to see projects that have been completed, that are making impacts in people's lives, livelihoods. You know, people are working in places, they're generating economic activity. I think that's really important. That's the whole point of investment. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think what's especially important in the case of Rodney Bay is that you try to put in the supporting infrastructure, right, to be able to encourage investment. And the supporting infrastructure is certainly even more than just the roads. It's very, very important to put in the road network, but you need to have the water, you need to have the wastewater. Exactly. You need to have services too, as well, even, government services to be able to support persons, to encourage people to invest. So that is certainly, yes, certainly necessary. That model is one option. You have sometimes the model is a person coming in and they're bringing in all the supporting infrastructure themselves. They're going to be making the investment, but that tends not to be the case. Most investors, they want to know that they actually have a template that's in place. They already have the supporting infrastructure. It's like plug and play, right? The land's already serviced, and you're going in and you're just making that particular investment that you have without having to think so much. Oh boy, yes. Take care, caller. Yes. Thanks very much for that contribution, caller. Very much appreciated. Of course, and that's part of the need for urban planning, and in that context, and why some countries think about creating new towns for those types of purposes as well. Let's take in another call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? Yes, you're on. Is this Mr. Marcella Steed? Oh, we were supposed to have seen you yesterday. So no. Well, we hope that you can come in at some point, because when are you going to be able to come in? We have an open door policy, so if you can come in tomorrow or Friday, then certainly we welcome that. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. So, if I am to understand you, you're saying that you want to see the area developed, but you want to ensure that there is community input and opportunities for community ownership of the property. STEEL. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. But have those? I mean, in terms of a model like that, I mean, when we look at our success rate in terms of actually achieving those types of institutions, I think the only one that perhaps the only two that kind of come to mind would be the Soufre Foundation, as well as the Labrie Foundation to some degree as well. But beyond that, we've seen a pretty hard time in terms of cooperatives and those types of institutions. So you would want to see at a constituency level a trust being responsible for this land. Well, I'm familiar with the Darren Sammy cricket ground, and well, at the time Beausejour cricket ground, and how it was funded. It was funded through the national lotteries. Right, but I've. Mhm. Mm. Right. Okay, Marcellus, we I'd love to continue that conversation, and we can continue it perhaps tomorrow if once you agree to come in, or Friday, whatever works for you. But Well, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, great. But we do have to end because we're actually overtime here at the lunchroom. But thanks very much for the call. Very much appreciated. And that is, in fact, Mr. Marcellus Steed, the independent candidate for going up in the constituency of Castries North. And of course, we do thank you for your calls and your contribution. And we do hope that you'll be able to join us tomorrow, God willing, for another program of the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Do have yourself a wonderful day.